Hello, everybody, and welcome to our autumn equinox replenish retreat. I'm going to give people a little bit of a chance to come on in and get settled. Sometimes it takes a little bit for people to find their way to where we are live. So I'm going to give people a little bit of a chance to join in as well as get my audio recording started. I always like to do audio as a backup just in case there are technical difficulties. So I'm happy to see Taryn popping in and Karen, glad to see both of you. And okay, so just a few more seconds and then we'll go ahead and get started with this retreat. Jody is here too. Glad to see you, Jody. Okay, inviting yourself to take a nice deep breath, settling into your body, into this time and this place where you are right now. Oh, good. Evelyn is here too. Glad to see you. Okay. Maxine and Teal, glad to see both of you as well. I'm having the same thing happen that I had happen last week, which is that I can see chat on my computer but not on my phone. So please excuse me for looking back and forth. I know that can be distracting, but we make do with what we have. So hi, Bridget and Emberly and Karen, glad to see both of you too. So welcome to our fall replenish retreat. Hi, Colleen. This is the So this is the next one in a series, and we have been doing them since my little book, Replenish, was published in the spring. And I was only going to offer one little retreat to celebrate the publication of that book. And it was so fun to do that I thought, well, let's go ahead and make this a seasonal experience. So we'll have another one in October for Samhain. I'm going to change the day and the time for it, probably to a weekend instead. But anyway, so this is our fall retreat. So inviting yourself in, allowing yourself to take a nice deep breath, settling into your body. Happy fall, happy equinox. And letting yourself tune in to your own landscape, what is happening where you are right now. We've spoken a lot recently about the cycles and the seasons are reflected in our own bodies, our own minds, our own spirits, and our own landscapes. And so letting yourself just cast your awareness out to what is happening in your own north right now. Even if you're sitting at a desk, like I am right now, what's happening in your own north, letting yourself root into your own landscape where you are in the magic of your own place. So I always advocate that we turn to what our own landscapes are teaching us, not what the book says is right, not what, somebody else is experiencing, but what does our own land have to teach us? What is the magic of this place right now? And so letting yourself tap in briefly to what's in your own north, and welcoming that in. And then your own east and welcoming that in. And then your own south and welcoming that in. And then your own west and welcoming that in. It's really powerful to root ourselves into the rhythms and the cycles of our own lives, our own landscapes. And we talked at our Fall Simple and Sacred Circle about our own lives going through seasons. What does fall feel like to you? What does fall feel like in your body? What does summer feel like in your body? What do the cycles of the seasons ask of you? And your experience might be different than somebody else's experience. So there isn't like a right way or a wrong way. Somebody might feel very energized and excited by fall. Other people may feel kind of a grief of letting go of summer. And these things are all okay. So hello, Saray. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Anna Maria. Hi, Lori, glad to see you are joining us too. I do have to glance back and forth. I already had mentioned that a little earlier, so sometimes I miss some of the comments because I'm having to do the glance back and forth. Hi, Michelle, glad to see you too. Okay, so I'd like to invite you to, after presencing yourself here in your body, with your feet here on the earth, with your spirit right here, I'm going to acknowledge briefly that I have just gotten home from Gaia Goddess Gathering in it's only about 45 minutes away from me now. It was almost 5 hours away from me. And they moved last year to Waynesville, Missouri, which is not far away. And but even so, even despite the proximity and the closeness, I do find myself feeling a little scattered today, or a little bit like, part of me is still there at that festival and reviewing the things. I've been texting back and forth with my mom about the croning ritual that we did, and we're thinking of ideas for next year. And I was working on a new little song and chant to possibly use during ritual next year. So I'm thinking a lot about that. That festival, and it's kind of still alive in me. So this presencing and coming back into where we are is important for all of us, me included, because I'm like, part of my mind is still around that fire at our Athena Goddess weekend. So, okay. So the first little invocation that I would like to offer today is this little rhythm of belonging card, which I find really helpful. So the companion cards are all available on the Replenish retreat homepage, which I've linked to a couple times previously. It's the same homepage where all the Replenish retreats live. So there's a little companion card set for you there, and you don't have to have them now. You can print them out if you want to, or never print them out at all. Either way is fine. There's also a cute little coloring book, which was a fun little experiment for this particular month. I'm making no promises about doing these in the future, but I personally did have a really fun time working on my own little book. And so possibly I'll make them again in the future because it was fun. So if you have your little book, you can go ahead and get that out. But here's our first little invocation. So inviting you to take a deep breath, put a hand on your heart. Once again, calling your spirit in, calling your spirit back. It is raining here today, which I'm really grateful for. It's been very dry and very hot, so I'm happy to see some rain. Hello, Amanda. Glad to see you. Okay. Today feels clear and open, bright with possibility, and alive with inspiration. There is a call to discovery on the wind, an invitation into communion, rustling between the trees, a subtle rhythm stirring beneath the skin of the earth and calling to our feet. We are part of life's great dance, an uncurling and unfurling of being and becoming. Each day we are invited to start where our feet are, to take our place in the rhythm of belonging. So here we are today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Take your place in the rhythm of belonging. Okay. And then I'd like to offer today's little prayer from Replenish. I just go with wherever I am. And so I restarted the book on September 1st. And so here we are on the 23rd. I make my own magic where I am, the clouds and sun, the wind and trees as my witnesses, the earth to hold me, the sky to enfold me, my breath to guide me. I honor where I stand. I honor where I stand. So, that rhythm of belonging and honoring where you stand, as well as starting where your feet are. That is so powerful to me. It's really easy to let life run away from us. And if we can come back home again and again, we can return again and again, we can presence back in again and again. It's not like being present is not a state of permanent arrival. I've got it all figured out. Now it's all good. I'm perfect forever. It's an ongoing process of return. And so I really feel that that remembering to start where my feet are is really powerful reminder to myself when I feel like, life is running away from me. We just have to start where our feet are right now. So our feet right now are right here on this spinning earth with the rain in my case, but whatever's going on in your landscape, that's where we are. And this is the rhythm of belonging. So I'm so glad, Dawn, that you feel that here. That's what we have. Hi, Diane. I'm glad to see you too. Great to see you. But yes, that's what I hope to offer, is that part of that rhythm of belonging for you. Okay. And then I have a blessing for the first breaths of autumn, which I wrote a couple of days ago. I explained that it really was, I swear, the calendar turned to September 1st, and suddenly The air felt like it was breathing, like I could feel September in the air. I could feel fall in the air. The air was breathing like fall. And then it abruptly, very abruptly, shifted back to this hot, oppressive, humid, just kind of weather. And so the whole time at Gaia Goddess Gathering, it was just so hot. We were all sweaty. It was just incredibly hot. And so I'm happy to see some rain again. And I'm like re-welcoming in these first breaths of autumn. So here is a blessing for the first breaths of autumn. Oh, good, Suzanne. I'm glad you made it. And I see Angela is here too. Hello, Angela. Angela is a real life friend of mine. So good to see you. A blessing for the first breaths of autumn. May you know the grace of acceptance and the power of pausing. May you make peace with where you are, even when your life diverges from the plan. May you be soft and open, following the call of inspiration and listening to the sacred that sings all around you. May you unclench your life and inhabit the unfolding. May you return to the wisdom of the land, noticing its beauty and being nourished by its rhythms. May you come back home to yourself with gratitude and wonder. And that is my feeling too. I wrote a poem this morning about being like, this is a time of both mystery and discovery. Like I really feel like the fall equinox in this fall season offers this kind of twin, just like we have these twin poles and we have these and we have this opportunity for balance, even though balance is temporary. It's not a permanent state of arriving. Balance is temporary and can often look uneven from the outside. There's not like one perfect balance, but sometimes it's asymmetrical balance. But I also feel these kind of twin things that we're at the threshold of discovery, or this crossroads of discovery, but we're also holding mystery. There's also mystery. So both mystery and discovery are alive for us right now. Clarity and confusion, figuring things, gathering things in and letting things go, harvesting our bounty and sacrificing things. So there's a lot going on, and there's things held in both hands, so to speak, or one hand open to let go and one hand holding on to what we've created. There's a lot of that twin balance pull at this time of year. And so that reminds me that I had another, and so again, feelings are different for different people, but I just really feel that seasonal energy in my own body, in my own life. And so this sensation that we're balancing multiple things is really potent for me at this time of year. And so I have another poem, surprise, another poem. And this one is called Autumn. Autumn. So like not like I'm probably saying sometimes I have to laugh at myself sometimes with the because I have the little bit of the Midwestern accent in my speech sometimes. So as in AH. Thank you, Karen. Never too many poems. Autumn, the stirring of your breath between the trees invites both evaluation and clarity. It is time to harvest what we've made, to savor what we've created, and a time to release what is finished or has run its course. It is also time to cast our eyes to the horizon, to watch the sun set early and the birds migrate overhead, and the first touches of yellow kiss the trees. Time to grant ourselves space and grace for our own becoming, to sink into ourselves and listen, to consider what we've made and what we've given. It is time to celebrate what we've offered and marvel at what we've done. It is good. It is enough. It is time to soften our shoulders and open our hands, to tip our faces to the sky and feel sweetness kiss our skin. Yes, there is good work yet to be done. It is not yet time to stop, but it is time to plan for a pause, to open ourselves up to a time of reflection and restoration, time to still the questings and silence the shoulds, to step with ease and gratitude into the center of our own power, our magic and our trust, recollected and reclaimed. Our own magic and our trust, recollected and reclaimed. And that is what I always want to invite people to consider, is that we always have the opportunity to like recollect and reclaim and return. And I know it can be easy to feel like, you know, like you've lost it kind of. And really, it's right there asking you to recollect, reclaim, and return. Oh, thank you, Taryn and Amanda. I'm glad you enjoy the writing. I think back to a time in which I would not have ever read anything out loud that I wrote to people on the internet. Now I do it every week. Love that you're here listening. It is so good to share space with all of you. Okay. And so our Replenish retreats are offered as I do a live community practice every week for members of our Goddess Magic community on Patreon. And then the lives are in our patron only Facebook group. And then once a season, I do a Replenish retreat instead in place of that community practice. But this year in our community practices, we have been working through this life organizer book, and I make a little card for each week with journal questions and a quote and things like that. And so since today is the day we would normally be doing that community practice, I have this day's quote and oops, I put away my little card. Quote and questions from that book. So they may not specifically relate to the fall season, but they kind of sync up with our community practice in the Goddess Magic group. So our quote is about resurrection places, which I find, and I do recognize that the word resurrection may be kind of like a loaded word for people, but this is a quote that comes from Frank McGowan in the book The Mist-Filled Path, which he's writing about kind of Celtic wisdom for journeying, you know, through the mists, and he has this. So here's the quote about your resurrection place. And I think you'll see in a minute why I like it so much. So this is the little green card. May you find your resurrection place, your own forest shrines, and trust that what you discover there is good. May you come to embrace the wisdom the mist can teach us about blending, about making compromises in our fixed and solidified states of mind. And may you learn to trust and rely on the holiness of the longing in your soul, the holiness of the longing in your soul. So that is from Frank McGowan in the Mist-Filled Path book. And so this is not actually in the Life Organizer book. This is from a different book, and it's just the quote that I have that I put on the card. And so chapping back in with Jennifer Loudon in a minute. But so the journal question for you to accompany that is, do you have a resurrection place, like a place that restores you, that revitalizes you, that renews you, that replenishes you? Do you have a resurrection place? And may you find your own resurrection place, your own forest shrine, discovering what you find there to be good. And so I love both of those phrases, that notion of having your own resurrection place and also relying on the holiness of the longing in your soul. That's something I've spoken about a lot this year, is that longing isn't wrong. Like longing isn't bad. Longing is a teacher. Longing is a doorway to where you want to go. So may you rely on the holiness of the longing in your soul. When you feel that sensation of longing, like I wish for something different, that's your doorway, your invitation to step through. And so the journal question, do I have a resurrection place or a power spot? So that's what I said. You'll recognize why I liked this quote, because I've spoken a lot too this year about power spots I've spoken a lot over a lot of years about the power of having a power spot, a place to come back to, a place to revisit again and again, and how the magic there grows and deepens and strengthens with repeated return. A repeated practice of return builds the power of this power spot for you. And so we can think of it as a power spot. You can think of it as a resurrection place. You can think of it as a sacred space, etc. And but so both phrases I enjoy. And so that brings me to, I really am going to get back to the Life Organizer book, but that brings me to my other little card about power spots and revisiting that notion of having a place of power, a place of homecoming, a place of return, a place in which your power, your magic, like you can tap into your power and your magic, and where those things are replenished, where those things are strengthened, where they are deepened, where they grow, and that you can rely on. So you know, like when you step back out, I see Emberly's commenting on going to Mount Shasta in Northern California, and we know, like when we have these places of homecoming or those places of returning, like when we step into them, you can feel that sense of exhale, that sense of, and it's that sense of trust, because you know that this place holds power and magic and replenishment and restoration, and it's all there, like kind of simmering and bubbling and supporting you. And so for me, that's my own porch swing where I sit to write my poems, and my own rocks in the woods. And I'm so grateful to have those power spots where I can step right back in. And as soon as I sit down, it's like all the 1400 days of poetry writing in that same spot that have come before, they're all there, like strengthening me. So yes, Suzanne says her power spots, her garden, standing among the swooping swallows today, so magical. Yes, and that's how, I sit there with the butterflies, I sit there with the crows, I sit there with the dragonflies, I sit there with the little skinks going by, whatever it is, like that's the power spot, and it holds that memory of all those other days of observation and witnessing and communication, and it's all there. Okay. So here is this little poem about that. We each need time each day to step out of the swirls of others, to exist untethered with only the pulse of presence and the great what is for company. We need time to replenish ourselves and restore our sense of connection to the sacred, to pause, grateful, alive and breathing right where our feet are, sunshine slipping between the trees to kiss our shoulders. Pausing is the ancestor of action. Listening is the ancestor of discernment. Restoration is the antidote to depletion. Tending to the spirit is the antidote to fragmentation. Let us call together these ancestors and antidotes. Let them steep together in our cauldron of being until we emerge with confidence that we know what we are here for and what we will offer and do. So I love that notion of having both these ancestors and antidotes, and we can let them steep together and offer us what we need. And so that's what I find our power spots do. I do find that our prayer books create portable power spots that can come with us. So I've shared before that I have some medical things coming up this week. And, that prayer book's going to go with me. That's my power spot that travels with me. I tuck these little extra cards into my little Replenish book. So my little cards are tucked in there. And then I have a little bag that I carry it in with some other little things too. And I'm like, this is a portable power spot that can go with me where I do. And it carries some of that energy, some of that power, some of that magic of the other things that have been created. It's like a portable power spot. So I find that really good. And Janetta, that's right. It is a potent brew. It's a potent brew. And so let's see. I keep saying I was going to talk about the Life Organizer. Instead, I'm reading a bunch of other stuff. But anyway, so the other question, do I have a resurrection place or a power spot? Can I trust and rely on the holiness of the longing in my soul? And now we're checking in with Jennifer Loudon's stuff. And the question from her this week is, how do I like to nurture myself? How do I like to nurture myself? And so I think it's important to tap in again to the rhythms and cycles of the seasons and our own landscapes. So like, what does your fall body need from you right now? What does your fall energy level need from you right now? What does your fall spirit need from you right now? What do you need to nurture yourself? And what truly feeds and replenishes you. This is a good time. We were talking about how this is a time of gathering and releasing, of calling in and letting go, of harvesting and of sacrifice. So it can be a good time of the year to let go of something. If a practice isn't working for you anymore, if there's something that you want to change, this is a perfect time to invite in change and to also let something go. And so what truly feeds and replenishes you is an important question to consider. And so now we get to the quote from the Life Organizer, and this is what Jennifer says. Self-nurturing is the caramelized topping on the trust brulee. So if you like creme brulee, that's what she's talking about, that dessert that's the pudding in the kind of a custard, and then it has the caramelized sugar on the top of it. So self-nurturing is the caramelized topping over the trust brulee. You've got to have the trust, or all you're left with is burnt sugar, sweet, brittle, and not very satisfying. So we need to have both. We need to have the self-trust, and then we have the self-nurturing on top of the trust brulee, and we need both of them. So we aren't just left with burnt sugar. Creme brulee is one of my totally favorite desserts, so I love that quote from her about it. It's a trust brulee, and I love it. So thinking about, and if you like something different instead, maybe think about your chocolate cream pie with whipped cream on top or something, or your delicious smoothie bowl or something. But anyway, caramelized topping on the trust brulee. And so then she asks, what basic need do I have that could use some attention? How firm is my foundation? What cracks do I have that need attention? And then choose only one thing and attend to that. I think sometimes when we're trying to think of all the things that nurture us, and we're thinking about those things that are antidotes to depletion, etc., sometimes it can get overwhelming. Like, there's so many things. I like to go on a walk. I like to do yoga. I like to write my journal. I like to write a new prayer. I like my oracle cards. I have all these things that I like, and sometimes it can be a big, huge pile. And so choosing one thing can be really helpful for you. Yeah, creme brulee society, unite. That's right. Okay. There's some people, my husband actually hates it and thinks it's disgusting. So for me, I'm like, I wish I had some right now. Okay. Let's see. So the affirmations it's like my special dessert. Like I don't usually get desserts in restaurants, kind of cheapskate, and I don't get drinks, I don't get desserts. But if I ever do have like a special dessert opportunity, I will go for that creme brulee. Okay, so affirmations for this week to carry forward with you into this season, into this fall season. I trust myself. And I come back to this one a lot. I really do find that I personally have this core of like unshakable trust inside me. And there can be things that shake it. There can be things that interfere and that cloud the voice. But if I take the time in the power spot or the resurrection place to listen, I find I can always tap back into that unshakable core of self-trust that tells me that in which I know what I need. So core affirmation, I trust myself. Core affirmation, I trust myself. And then here's another one. I rely on the holiness of longing. I rely on the holiness of longing. Another one could be, I listen to my own longing. I listen to my own longing. Or longing is the doorway back home. Another great one is, I am my own sacred space. And another good one is, I meet my own needs. So remind yourself this season to meet your own needs. The needs of your own fall body, not your summer energized body, or even your winter quiet body. But what are the needs of your fall body? What is being let go of? What is being harvested or gathered? And okay, so we're already almost at the end of our time together today. It goes really fast sometimes. And so I did want to go ahead and read. I have a poem for equinox balance. And since this is our fall retreat, I would like to go ahead and read that poem about equinox balance. You may have heard me read it before. And yes, the equinox officially was yesterday. I always, if you hear me talk in other places, I always think of these things. These are a season, the lessons, the experiences, the feelings. It's a season. It's not just a single day. But the actual day was yesterday. And then sometimes it's the 20th, sometimes it's the 21st, sometimes it's even up to the 23rd. But so here's the equinox poem. And equinox. It is the equinox, one of only 2 points of perfect balance in a spinning year. This morning, the sun was a red stripe sandwiched between 2 layers of gray clouds. 2 crows sat in the tip-top branches of the dead oak tree, their black bodies silhouetted against morning. When they left, 2 woodpeckers came and sat on the same branches, grooming their feathers and murmuring to each other. This is the still point of the year, one hinge of change and choice, a doorway into possibility, an invitation into rest, a chance to renew and receive, a chance to let things go and step away, a chance to open our hands and release our worries and concerns. Let our unfinished projects drift away on the wind. It is time to recommit, to renew our promises, to come back home to center, to allow ourselves to feel and see and choose. It is a chance to assess what we've created, to see that it is good, it is enough, just like I said earlier today. It is time to celebrate and savor what we've made, to honor our contributions and our offerings, and to decide what to continue to share. There is work that calls our names. There is purpose that beats in our veins. There is truth that whispers on the winds of change. There is hope that flares bright and beautiful. There is possibility that trembles, uncertain and yet persistent. There is wholeness at the center. It is time to remember that balance is temporary. Nature knows this. The earth knows this. Our hearts know this. Change is inevitable, but equilibrium is essential too. And this one actually goes on a little further, but that is enough. That's enough of that one. It's a long one. Oh, but I'm going to actually go at the very end of it. Balance will come and go. Change will ebb and flow. We will yield and soften. We will strengthen and deepen. We will change. But keep your promise. Keep your vow. Jody, celebrate and savor really speaks to me highly at this time of year too. I've shared before that I always feel in the fall, I feel all this like energy for my plans for the next year. So not stuff that I want to do right now, but stuff that I want to do to, make next year better or more interesting or, more fulfilling. And I think about all these things and I really have to come back to that celebrating and savoring. Like, this is a wonderful time to look at what we've made this year, to look at what our year has held. It doesn't have to be things we physically made, but, connections we've made with others, things we've done with other people, even books we've read, things we've enjoyed, clubs we've gone to, whatever it is. It's time to celebrate and savor that, not to let next year run away with us and not also to get kind of lost in things we wish we would have done. But let's celebrate and savor what's right here. If we talk about starting where our feet are, what are we celebrating and savoring right here? I find that really, really important to me. And I have to keep reminding myself of it because otherwise I'll run away with myself. So anyway, that is where we are right now. And so I would love to invite you to consider, as we close for today, I would love to invite you to consider what you need in this upcoming 3 months. What do you need to keep your magic replenished? What do you need to keep your body nourished? What do you need to keep your magic strong and bright and your body cared for and well tended as we step into the final part of this year? So I'd love to leave you with that question to consider, but how can you take care of yourself in sync with this season? And we are going to close with, I had 2 more. I am going to go ahead and close with this poem. I wrote this during at the beginning of Cauldron Month, and it feels like a good closing for us today. I had a couple other options, but this is the one that's jumping out at me to share, and it has been a favorite. Like, sometimes I write something and I get my little card and I reread it again and again to let it keep soaking back in and to reaffirm it to myself. So it feels like the right time to share that one. So it's on a little yellow companion card. Make a clean sweep. Come to the edge and stand there. All your hopes and choices, all your expectations and your fears held in your open hands. Lean forward, laugh, set them all free to soar and to wander. Watch them glide away into the open sky, settle into your skin, stripped back, scoured clear, whole and holy. Feel the delight you thought you'd forgotten bubble up from deep within. Feel your feathers catch the sunshine. Feel your power reawaken now that you're not carrying too much to hear it. Discover you suddenly remember how to fly. Discover you suddenly remember how to fly. Okay, so thank you so much for having shared space with me today for our Fall Replenish retreat. And so may you, this week, this season, may you remember to treat your body in sync with the seasons and to also remember to take your place in that rhythm of belonging. You really do belong here. Thank you so much for being here. Happy fall, everybody. Thank you, Suzanne and Saray and Amanda and Taryn and Anna Maria and Karen and Jenny and Angela and Janetta and Evelyn. Let's see, did I get everybody? Oh, Jenny, I said Jenny already. Diane, so glad to have shared space with all of you. Happy fall, everybody. Thank you, Jody. Keep living your magic, and I will see our Goddess Magic patrons next Monday, and then I'll see everybody else in October for our October Replenish Retreat. Thank you, Lori, Dawn, Emberly, Amanda. It's wonderful to share space with all of you. So may you continue to replenish yourself, remembering that restoration is the antidote to depletion. Bye-bye, everybody. Oh, thank you, Teal, Amanda. Bye-bye.